Hey guys, it's MadameWario. Welcome to the bonus/epilogue video to Let's Play Undertale 100% blind. I'm recording this the night of my final recording where I completed the game, and I've given myself some space, and now that I'm not going to be biased for taking so long to get to the ending, I want to talk about the game and just my thoughts and opinions and kind of share a deeper introspection with you pimps as to my real review of the game. So feel free to comment with any discussion topics you may have or put your opinion out there as well, because I'd love to hear it, and I think it's really fun to kind of dig deeper and just discuss a game sometimes. So anyway, I've made a pros and cons list, and I'm going to kind of go down the list and talk about things that I liked and things that I didn't like, and just kind of go over my experience of the game overall. So to get started, I want to talk about my favorite element of the game, and that was definitely the cast of characters. This game had so many different characters, and they were all so quirky and unique. I was really surprised, and that really means a lot to me when you don't have a big collection of one-note characters like, hey, this is the tough guy, this is the nice guy, this is the guy you hate, this is the guy you love. Like, I like that every single character seemed to have a multitude of layers. So some characters, while you didn't like them at first, you grew to love them in the end, or they had a change of heart, or maybe you liked them and then something happened and you didn't like them. I think that's really unique, and that just makes the characters become more real and relatable, and so I really was impressed with that. Favorite character has got to be Lesser Dog. I still love Lesser Dog. He has the best theme. I made a plushie of him. I love him. Lesser Dog is my boy, so big shout out to Lesser Dog. I'd love to know what all of your favorite characters are too, because there's so many. As far as like super main characters, Papyrus kind of won over my heart when I really was like, oh, who's that guy? Like, I really didn't care about him at all at first, I'll be honest. I mean, I tried to kill him, so if that says anything. But, like, he really grew to be, like, the actual cool guy, and I love that. I loved that about the game. So that's the first thing I really liked. The main thing that I did not like was the directional aspect of the game. And I get it. This is a game where you're supposed to kind of figure out that, oh, this isn't typical, where you want to, like, kill everybody. You actually want to do the opposite. Like, that's all fine and dandy, but the fact that if you do it wrong, the fact that I felt like there was a way to play the game wrong and it didn't even help you out at all. Like, there wasn't a reward, obviously, but there also was no hint as to what was to happen next. So when you have a game where you literally cannot figure it out on your own, because I could have gone through the entire game again and ended up with the same thing and been like, well, this is a crap game. Like, I could have absolutely done that and thought this is just stupid. But, you know, if this were a brand new game and not popular, maybe that's what would have happened. But just the fact that I had to go to somebody, or I would have had to look it up or find help in some way outside of the game itself, was a big turnoff for me. I thought, I'm not sure I'm all that impressed with that design, that you can't get like a full experience without just being completely blatantly like, well, what do I do now? So that was really frustrating for me. That's got to be like the worst thing to this game, and that's got to be probably the worst design in this game, in my personal opinion. I know some people might really disagree with that and say like, no, that's what makes Undertale what it is, but I just really was super unimpressed with that, and it just added frustration where there should have been enjoyment, or like more of a will to be like, oh, I'm gonna do this right this time. Instead it was like, I have no idea what to do, and I'm just super discouraged. So that was probably the biggest thing that I was not excited about after playing the game. But the next thing I want to talk about is another pro, something I really did like, and that was the comedic element. There was lots of comedy in this, and it came in unexpected ways. I wasn't expecting the game to be as comical or, interesting in a funny way as it was. I thought it would be more serious, especially just right off the get-go of like the whole opener. I thought, oh, this is gonna be like serious story RPG, but it was so like quirky and just kind of weird and dismantled in a way that made it really comical and interesting. I really liked that and enjoyed that. The con I have to go along with that, though, is for me personally, there was just way too much dialogue, too much talking. I was like, can we get back to the game and like exploring and moving and doing something other than reading? Like, when I have to play through a mountain of dialogue and just feel like I'm reading the Bible, then I'm kind of like, okay, yeah, we heard this and this is long and I just want to get through it. Like, it gets to a point where I'm not even listening anymore. I'm not even interested. I've checked out and I'm just button mashing to get through it, and that's not enjoyable for me. I'm sure you guys could see that or sense that in those moments when I'm just kind of like not even saying anything, just pressing the button like, yeah, okay, cool, great, yeah. And that just, a joke's only funny for so long is kind of how I feel about that. So it's the same for dialogue. A topic's only interesting for so long until it's like, okay, we need to move on. We need to like move to another element of the game. So that was something that I thought could have lessened, and it would not have taken away from the game at all, having less dialogue in the same kind of comedic way. Like, I didn't think that was necessary. But again, that's just maybe an RPG thing. I'm not the biggest fan of RPGs for that reason. I also don't like big, huge, super long cutscenes for that reason, where I just have to sit through watching something and be like, okay, this is supposed to be dramatic and interesting, and I am totally not even paying attention anymore. So that's kind of just me. Something that definitely needs to be noted is the soundtrack. The music in this game, music is make it or break it for me. Like, a lot of games, it can be like a good game but then have crap or not really memorable music, and it's kind of like, great. But like, if the music's really, really good and memorable, that's when I'm like, okay, this game gets it. Like, I want to hear what's going on. Like, that's what kind of brings me into it. I'm a huge fan of movie scores and movie soundtracks, and if you look through my like audio library, probably half of it is not even like, it's not artists or like regular like singers. It's composers of movie scores and soundtracks, because that's something that like, that's what draws you in and brings the emotion or the feeling that the creator's going for into it. So this had a killer soundtrack. I loved it. I thought it was totally fierce, super fitting to how the design of the game was. I said this multiple times throughout the playthrough, but this game really, really reminded me of V6, which is one of my favorite games. Like, definitely one of my favorite games, especially in the indie field. And that's like a puzzle platformer in the same kind of graphical, like old school design, whereas this felt, very much like not just an RPG, but like a puzzle RPG. So I thought that was really cool. I kept sensing parallels, and the music was one of those parallels that I was like really drawn to. So that made me happy. Another one of the cons I want to talk about are the boss battles, especially towards the end. I really just got to the point where I was not enjoying them. They were just tedious and long and redundant, and like, can we get this over with? It was kind of like the same thing I talked about with dialogue, especially like the Flowey battle. Like, the first time I played through the game, I was like, at first it was like, this is really weird and psycho and like, what is going on? And it was comical. But then it lost its comical appeal. Like, 12 times into it, I was like, I get it. This is supposed to go on forever, but like, we know that's not really going to happen. Like, everybody knows that's not really going to happen. So it was almost like it needed to be like half the length of what it was. And a lot of the battles you do anyway, like even with Mettaton, like that was another really frustrating one for me, because it was just like routine. It got to the point where it's like, do we really have to do this still? Like, I understand it's supposed to be challenging and hard to get through, but this is just getting to the point where, like, I'm not even, like, paying, again, I'm losing my attention span. I'm not caring anymore. I'm not seeing the element of laughter in it or, like, entertainment. It's just gone from joy to, like, I feel like I'm at work and I'm watching the clock, like, is it time to go yet? Like, I don't like feeling that way. That's not how you should feel in a game, in my opinion. So I didn't really notice that, obviously, with, like, the other battles, like the shorter battles. Some boss battles were fine, but, like, especially the ones towards the end of the game that were just like, this is just too much. This is too long. Even the, like, final Flowey battle was like, how many times do we have to die before we, like, don't die, because we obviously can't. So I don't know, that's just something for me. Again, I lose my patience there, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready to move on. Why isn't the game ready? So that's one of my other cons. Another pro is that I really liked the options within this game. I think that I kind of have a mixed feeling about replay value, mostly because of what I talked about earlier. I feel like there's a wrong way to play and a right way to play, and the game, like, if you don't know what's going to happen, like, that's really can be really encouraging or discouraging. But if you know what's going to happen, I do like that there's a replay element of, like, okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna play it this way, or I want to try playing it again but doing this instead of what I did last time. I like that there's that layer of options in replaying the game and replay value. I just wish there wasn't, like, one right way and one, like, completely wrong way and then just a big jumbled mess in the middle. I kind of wish it was wish that there were different correct ways to play, if you will. That being said, I also like the options within the battles. I didn't get them at first. I was really confused and just like, why are there all these options? I don't get it. But, like, after figuring it out and, like, kind of understanding why they were there, then it made it for a really unique and amusing experience, and I could see how everybody would combat differently or have a different outcome. So I think that was really pretty brilliant and interesting, and I did end up liking that in the end. The last con I have, because I do have more pros than cons, I will say that. The last con I wrote down to the game were the secrets, and that's kind of I kind of already talked about this, but just the secrets of the game, like, ooh, if you do this, you'll get this, and if you miss out on whatever, you're gonna not see this ending, or you're going to see that, like, I don't know, I didn't feel like the secrets were very well, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't feel like they were as understandable, or I didn't feel like you could uncover them without just going outside of the game, again, and asking a friend or looking it up, and so it added no layer to the game for me of, like, I'm gonna go back and really, like, see if I can find something. Like, instead it was like, I have no clue where to even start. So unless I ask someone, I'm screwed, or I have to start all over, or just go back and just wander aimlessly for God knows how long. So the secrets I wasn't impressed with in that way. They were a little too secretive. So my other pros, I have two more, and the first is the length of this game. If an RPG is 1,000,000 hours long, like, literally over 24 hours, like, I know that some people are like, oh my god, that's so short, 24. Oh my god, if it's longer than that, I'm gone. I'm dead. I can't even play. I will be discouraged to play it before I even start. That's just how I am. I really struggle to get into RPGs. I'm the same way with, like, books. Like, a big, thick, heavy novel, like, if the chapters are, like, super long, forget it. I won't make it through it. But, like, if they're short and sweet and, like, kind of inch me through and stay interesting and, like, change all the time, then I'm okay. But if I know, like, I'm picking up a series that has 20 books and I'm starting on number 1, like, I'm already discouraged. Like, that's just me personally. That's definitely a personal thing. I just don't like hugely long, lengthy games. That just turns me off, and I feel like I'll waste a million years with it and I'll never get to play anything else. So that's kind of my own thing. So this being an RPG, I was really happy with the length, that when I went back and played it again, it did take me less time, number 1. Number 2, it didn't take me that long to begin with, considering it was an RPG. So I really did like the length of this game, especially for the style and the way it's designed and put together. That was perfect for me. I was really happy with that. I do not have any complaints because, of course, going into an RPG blind, that was my, like, first thing. Like, how long am I going to be playing this? Oh my god, I'm never going to play anything else. So that was good. The last thing I want to talk about is the balance of the game. When I went back through, I was really worried because you guys probably, you heard me say at one point, I know I said, like, wow, we're already this far in the game and we're still at level 1. Weren't we at level 12 when we ended? Well, at first I thought the levels were like where you are in the game. I didn't realize it was your HP. So I was thinking of it like, oh, we're at, the next area is the next level. Well, then when I realized, like, oh, it's HP, I thought, oh my god, my HP is not going up. How am I ever going to get through these battles at the end that took me 1,000 tries last time? Now I'm really just going to be screwed, even though I know what to expect. It's going to be so much harder. But the game does a great job of balancing out, so it's pretty much the same experience no matter what, of balancing out, like, attack power versus your defense. So, like, attacks didn't take as much damage when I had lower HP as when I had higher HP, so it was really evened out. I was so thankful for that, because I would have been a hot mess and so mad if it had not been like that. I would have been like, I am never playing this again. So that element of balance was a big pro for me. I was like, thank you game for thinking of that and not making this impossible for the second go, or the first if you're smart enough. But yeah, I was really so grateful for that. That was a huge relief. So overall, those are all of my specific thoughts on the game. I really did enjoy playing it. I know I got very frustrated at parts, but that's kind of just part of playing a game blind for the first time. You don't have any warnings, so going into certain areas where, seriously, if I was playing and not recording, and knowing I was recording, I would have just rage quit multiple times and been like, I can't do this anymore, I'll go back to it later. But when I'm recording, I kind of have more willpower to just power through it and, like, beat it. Like, okay, madam, you have to beat this. You can't just let it go and then try again later, because then it's just going to be harder, or you just aren't going to get to it. So there are definitely times where I would have done that if I had not been recording or making a Let's Play of this, where I would have been like, that's it, I'm done, I'll play it again next week, So that kind of adds more pressure to me and is good, and was good for this run of the game. So unfortunately, you guys had to witness all of those frustrated moments where you're probably like, God, she hates this and she isn't just not even having fun with this at all. And I'll admit, there were times where I was not having fun with it at all, but that kind of just goes with any game. Any game has moments like that, like I said. But overall, I really did enjoy it. It was one of those things where I kept thinking about it and wanting to talk about it after I played, and I couldn't because, like, no one knows I'm doing this, so I'm like, I can't talk about it, I need to discuss this with someone, but not give everything away that I've done. So, it was really fun and really interesting, and I really liked it. I'd probably give the game like a 7 out of 10, based on, pretty much all of the things that I said. I don't think I'd score it any higher than that for my personal preference. I'd be more likely to give it like a 6 out of 10, but that's a little too low. I enjoyed it too much for that. It wasn't like halfway enjoying it and halfway not. But like, if there had been more of a directional aspect to the ending with what I did, I know there are in some other instances because I heard about them, but there weren't for what I did. So my experience was, this is crap. to figure it out. And if like dialogue hadn't been so lengthy and taken up so much time and me just like button mashing and not being interested, and like those last battles and like secrets, if those hadn't been like as big of issues as they were for me, I probably would score it higher. But yeah, I'd give it a 7 out of 10, which is still a good score. So I did really enjoy it. I'm glad that I played it. I'm really happy to know this game now, and really I can see myself going back and just playing it again in the future just for fun because of the characters and all that. Now, will I replay it in a way that, like the Uber challenge of like killing everybody? I don't think so, but I'll probably go back and just go through it, or at least free roam at the end. That's another pro. I love that there's free roaming at the end of the game. That was great. That's always a huge turn on for me in RPGs. So anyway, yeah, that's gonna really conclude all of my thoughts though on Undertale. I hope you guys have enjoyed this project. It was really a lot of fun to record and put together, and I'm so excited to hear everybody's thoughts. Like, this has been like kind of the biggest torture ever, like doing this on my own and knowing that no one knows about it. So it's like, what is everybody gonna think? I just want to know everyone's thoughts. And I hope you guys just really have fun with the Let's Play, or had fun with the Let's Play. You've seen it at this point. I'm talking as if you've not seen it. But it's so weird because when I'm recording this, no one has seen it. So anyway, that's gonna conclude this. So again, feel free to share any thoughts you have in the comments regarding the game, what you liked and didn't like, and I would especially love to hear your favorite character, because there's so many characters and I'm all about like picking a favorite character. That's just me. I always do that. So, you know, why else is my name MadameWario? So anyway, alrighty, I love you, pimps. Thank you so much for watching Let's Play Undertale. Thank you so much for bearing with me through the monotony that was Let's Play Undertale, and for just going along with me for the ride. You guys are amazing. You're super fierce. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace out, pimps.